You guys have a quiz on spheres, cylinders, cones, and pyramids. We're going to go through this quiz review. This paper is not in your packet. It is a separate sheet, so make sure you have that before we get started. You can also use the formula sheets in the classrooms, or the formula sheet for the quiz will be given to you prior to this. All right, problem number 1, we have a sphere, and for our sphere, we only have one variable we have to worry about, which is our radius. And in this picture, the radius is already given to us. It's that short line from the center to the outside, and it is 11. Spheres do not have lateral area, so we can skip that. They do have our surface area, which is 4 pi r squared. That is our formula. Now, we already have our radius, so we can just plug that in, which is 4 pi times 11 squared. Then we skip the pi, and we can type the rest right into Desmos. So if we do 4 times 11 squared, we get 484. Now I'm not going to go through every problem with the Desmos projected, but just remember to skip the pi when you are typing it in. Alright, so our surface area for our sphere is 484 pi. We need to have pi in our answer because we had pi in our formula. And let's move on to volume. Volume is 4 over 3 pi r to the third. There's our formula. We know what r is. Let's plug that in. 4 over 3 pi times 11 to the third. Now that we've plugged it in, we can go to Desmos, but we're going to skip the pi. So 4 over 3, skip pi, 11 to the third, 1774.66. The volume is 1774.66 pi. Pi is in the formula. Pi needs to be in the answer. Okay, problem number 2. We have another sphere. We need our radius. Our picture, though, has the diameter because it goes across the whole circle. So our diameter equals 2. In order to find our radius, we have to divide that by 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1. Now we have the radius. We can go to our formulas. Skip LA for our sphere. SA formula is 4 pi r squared. Plug it in. 4 pi 1 squared. Skip your pi. You can plug that into Desmos, and you get 4 pi. Now remember, as you're watching this video, if it is going too fast, make sure that you pause it and try these on your own. And then you can hit play and check to make sure you got the answer correct. You can also rewind it if it's going too fast. All right, volume. Our formula is 4 over 3 pi r to the third. We know what r is, so we plug it in. 4 over 3 pi times 1 to the third. Skip the pi, plug the rest into Desmos, and you get a volume of 1.33 pi. Again, pi is in our formula. It needs to be in our answer. Problem number 3, we're dealing with a different shape. We're dealing with our cylinders. And for a cylinder, you need to have your radius and your height. So looking at our picture, we have our radius. It's that short line in the circle, 7. We have our height, the one that connects the two circles, 9. Cylinders do have an LA, and that formula is 2 pi r h. We have r and h, so we plug it in. 2 pi times 7 times 9. Skip the pi, plug the rest in. Once you do that, you get a lateral area of 126 pi. Pi's in the formula, pi's in our answer. Surface area for a cylinder, that formula is 2 pi r squared plus 2 pi r h. Once you have your formula, plug in your numbers. 2 pi times 7 squared plus 2 pi times 7 times 9. Again, we're going to skip the pi. So the first part, 2 times 7 squared, that turns into 98 pi plus the second part, skip the pi, 2 times 7 times 9, 126 pi. Combine your like terms, 98 pi plus 126 pi gives you 224 pi. And finally, volume for a cylinder. Get your formula. Oh, forgot to box my answer. So, sorry, volume is pi r squared h. Plug in your numbers. Pi times 7 squared times 9. Skip the pi. Plug the rest in. Once you do that, you get 441 pi. Pi is in the formula. Pi is in our answer. Again, make sure you are pausing these and trying the answer or trying the problems on your own and not just copying down the answers, because you do have a quiz after this. Okay, problem number 4. Problem number 4 is a cone. Cone creates a little bit more work here, because remember the cone, we usually have to use our a squared plus b squared equals c squared. And the cone has 3 variables. We need our radius, we need our height, and we need our slant height, the L. So let's see what we have in our picture. We have our radius through the short side through the circle, so 6. We have our height from the corner point straight down, which is 7. So we are missing our slant height. But all green lines have created a right triangle where we have 6, we have 7, and we have our missing side. So here is where we need to use our a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Remember, c is always across from the box, that corner. So we are looking for that question mark. Even better, we are looking for L. That's what we're trying to find. So we're going to say 6 squared plus 7 squared equals L squared. 6 and 7, the order does not matter, but you have to have it equaling L squared. Alright, 6 squared is 36. 7 squared is 49, still equals L squared. 36 plus 49 is 85. So 85 equals L squared. Finally, to get L by itself, you need to take the square root, which will give you a decimal. Once you have that decimal, that becomes your L. And in this case, it's 9.2. Now that I have R, H, and L, I can go to my formulas. Cones do have an LA. So an LA is pi times R times L. So we're going to do pi, substitute the R, substitute the L, skip the pi, Type it in, and you should get 55.2 pi. Again, pi is in our formula. Pi needs to be in our answer. Surface area. We have our formula pi r squared plus pi rl. Substitute your numbers. Pi times 6 squared plus pi times 6 times 9.2. Skip the pi, so 6 squared is 36 pi plus 6 times 9.2 is 55.2 pi. Combine your like terms, 36 plus 55.2, 91.2 pi. And finally, volume. We have our formula of 1 over 3 pi r squared h. Substitute your numbers. 1 over 3 pi times 6 squared times 7. Skip your pi. 1/3 times 6 squared times 7 turns into 84 pi. Again, if any of this is going too fast or you need to go back, pause the video, and rewind it. We do have a back, so let's flip to the back. Okay, on the back we have another cone and 2 pyramids. So remember, with the cone, we need R, we need H, and we need L. Alright, right now I have a whole diameter of 24, and I just want the radius. So if my diameter is 24, that means my radius is half of that. So my radius is 12. From the point straight down, that's my height. So I'm missing that. And then from the point down the side, that's my L. So my L is 13. Again, the green lines make a right triangle. So I'm going to have to use my a squared plus b squared equals c squared to figure out what h is. C is the only one that matters. So from our corner across, we have 13. So that's what c is, 13 squared. 24 and h, either one can be a or b. Oh, I'm sorry, not 24. We're using 12. 12 is our radius. So we'll say 12 squared plus h squared equals 13 squared. Alright, so we got 144 plus h squared equals 169. And if you subtract the 144, you're left with h squared to equal 25. We need h, so we have to take the square root. So h equals 5, because the square root of 25 is 5. Alright, now that I have all of my variables, I can use my formulas and figure out my LA, SA, and V. So again, LA, pi, R, L. Substitute your numbers. Pi times 12 times 13. Skip your pi, type in your numbers, and you get 156 pi. Surface area formula is pi r squared plus pi rl. Plug in your numbers. Pi times 12 squared plus pi times 12 times 13. Skip the pi, So the first part is 144 pi plus second part, 12 times 13, 156 pi. Combine your like terms, 144 plus 156 is 300 pi. And volume. Volume formula is 1 over 3 pi r squared h. Substitute your numbers. 1 over 3 pi times 12 squared times 5. Skip your pi, plug it in, and you get 240 pi. All right, the last two are both pyramids. And again, pyramids have a lot of work too. Pyramids also use that a squared plus b squared equals c squared. All right. With pyramids, you need 4 different variables. Remember, h is from the point down. L is still that diagonal, that's slant. P is the perimeter. Big B is the area. Both of these deal with the bottom. So if I look at number 6, let's label what we have. I have 5 that goes from the point out at a slant. So that is my L. H is the point straight down, which I don't have. Okay. P is the perimeter of the base. Well, the base is a square. And to find the perimeter, we add up all the sides. So 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3. Or a faster way is we take one side and multiply it times 4. So 12 is my perimeter. Big B is the area of the base, which is your length times your width. And 3 times 3 is 9. So all that's left to do is to find h. Remember, h is from the point straight down. And you can form a triangle. Now, if the whole side is 3, we only want half of that. So the bottom of this pink triangle is half of 3, which is 1.5. And from the point straight down, that's our h. That's what we're looking for. So if we do our a squared plus b squared equals c squared, remember c has to be across from the corner. So c is 5. A and b doesn't really matter. 1.5 squared plus h squared. Okay, so now we just got to figure out, well, what is 1.5 squared? That's 2.25 plus h squared equals 5 squared is 25. And then if we subtract the 2.25, we're left with h squared equals 22.75. Now we just take that square root to get h by itself. So the square root is 4.76. So h is 4.76. Again, you find work where you need to, or space to do the work where you can. Now that we have all of our variables, we can plug into our formulas. So our LA is 1/2 L times P. So 1/2 of 5 times 12. No pi in our formula, so no pi in our answer. We can plug it all in, and you should get 30. SA is 1/2 L times P plus big B. Plug everything in. Oh, sorry. 1/2 times 5 times 12 plus big B is 9. Again, no pi, so you could type everything into Desmos if you wanted, or if you like the step-by-step, this is 30 plus 9, 39. No pi in our answer, no pi in our formula. And finally, our volume, which is 1/3 big B times H. So 1/3 big B is 9. H, we said, is 4.76. And we get 14.30. No pi in our formula, no pi in our answer. All right, and the last one, number 7. It's another pyramid, so a lot of work for this. Let's label what we have. What we have from the point straight down. So point straight down is our height, so that gives us 7. Base is a square again, so one side is 48. So the easiest way to find the perimeter is take the one side, 48, and multiply it times 4, which is 192. Base is our area, so we're going to multiply the two sides, 48 times 48, which is 2,304. All that's left is to find our L. So we have our height, if we go across, we get our slant. So we can make our triangle. I said height was 7. Now the base of our triangle, remember 48 is all of the square. We just want half of it. So half of 48 is 24. And then we're looking for the L. So to find L, we can do our a squared plus b squared equals c squared. C is across from the corner, has to be L. A and B does not matter. So then we have 49 plus 24 squared is 576 equals L squared. Add these together, we get 625 to equal L squared. All that's left is to take your square root. So L really equals 25. All right, so now we have our H, L, P, and B. All that's left is to plug in our formulas. LA is 1/2 L times P. So 1/2 times L, which is 25, times P, which is 192. And we get 2,400. There is no pi. Plug it all in. No pi in the formula. No pi in the answer. Surface area, 1/2 L P plus big B. So 1/2 times L, which is 25, P, 192, plus B, which is 2,304. Again, no pi, so you could plug it all in. Or if you like to do step by step, it turns into 2,400 plus 2,304. Add them together, 4,704. No pi in the formula, no pi in the answer. And finally, volume. 1/3 times big B times H. So 1/3 times 2,304 times H, which is 7. No pi, plug it all in, and you get 5,376. No pi in the formula, no pi in the answer. And I know this was kind of quick, but remember with the video you can always go back, rewatch, pause, and try again with any of these problems.